Tuesday night. You just got home. You're exhausted, and before your shoes are even off, you open your banking app. Your paycheck came in 5 days ago. You have $340. You scroll through the transactions. Uber Eats, an Amazon package you don't remember ordering. A Target run that was supposed to be paper towels somehow became $94. 3 coffees. A subscription you keep meaning to cancel. Nothing crazy, nothing irresponsible, just life, and the money is gone. Here's the part that really stings. This isn't the first time. This is every single month. You tell yourself next month will be different. You mean it. Every single time, you mean it. And every single time, same result. So let me ask you something. What if this isn't a discipline problem? Neuroscientists have confirmed, with brain scanners and decades of data, the human brain was wired by 200,000 years of evolution to spend every available resource the moment it arrives. Saving money isn't just hard, it's biologically unnatural. The part of your brain responsible for self-control runs out of fuel every single day, and it hits empty right around the time you're lying on that couch, scrolling at night, 2 people, same city, same job, same $2,400 every 2 weeks. Marcus finishes every month stressed, confused, wondering where it went. Not because he's reckless, because nobody ever showed him what was happening inside his own brain. The second person learned one thing Marcus never did. She learned that the brain has a spending default, a factory setting installed before modern money existed. Once she understood that default, she stopped fighting it with willpower and started overriding it with something far more powerful. By the end of this video, you'll understand your own brain better than most people ever will. Not budgeting tips, not cut the coffee advice. The actual neuroscience-backed switches you can flip, starting today. You don't have a spending problem, you have a factory settings problem. And factory settings can be changed. Every budgeting system you've ever tried was built on the same broken assumption, that knowing better is enough to do better, that the right spreadsheet, the right app, the right savings percentage would finally fix you. That's exactly why it never worked. Not because you weren't trying, because every single one of those systems handed you a spoon and told you to cut through steel. You were trying to fix a biological problem with a willpower solution. And willpower, as you're about to see, is the weakest, most easily drained resource your brain produces. Here's what the budgeting industry won't tell you. Your problem isn't a character flaw. It's a design flaw. Your brain wasn't built for credit cards. It wasn't built for one-click checkout. It wasn't built for Instagram ads that know what you were thinking about 3 hours ago. It was built for survival in a world that no longer exists, and it's running that ancient program on a 2025 battlefield and losing your money every month because of it. What comes next isn't a budgeting tip. It's the actual science of why your brain behaves the way it does around money, and the exact override system that works with your biology instead of against it. Pay close attention to the first thing I'm going to show you. Because once you see it, you'll understand something about yourself that most people spend their entire lives never figuring out. The spending deficit starts further back than you think, 200,000 years back. Your ancestors woke up every day with one goal: survive. No grocery stores, no banks, no refrigerators. If they found food today, there was zero guarantee it would still exist tomorrow. Rotted, stolen, gone. The only rational move: consume everything. Right now, the humans who saved, who waited, who held back, died. The humans who consumed immediately survived, reproduced, passed that instinct down, generation after generation, for 200,000 years. That instinct is sitting inside your brain right now, fully intact, fully operational, firing every single time your paycheck hits your account. This is the spending default, not a choice, not laziness. A factory setting installed long before money, mortgages, or credit card debt even existed. When Marcus gets paid on Friday and feels that immediate urge to move it, spend it, use it, that's not irresponsibility. That's 200,000 years of biological programming doing exactly what it was designed to do. The program isn't broken, it's just runnings in the wrong century. And it doesn't care how smart you are, how much you earn, how many financial podcasts you've listened to. The spending default runs underneath all of that. Quietly, automatically, every single month. But that's only layer 1. Because your brain doesn't just have one system working against your savings account. It has a second one. And this one has a name you've heard 1,000 times. But I promise you've never understood it the way you're about to. The Dopamine Machine. Have you ever added something to your cart, felt a little rush, and never actually bought it? Or bought something online, felt amazing at checkout, and felt almost nothing when it arrived? That's the most misunderstood chemical in the human brain, and it's running your spending life without your permission. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, the reward. But that's not what dopamine does. Dopamine is the wanting, the anticipation. It fires before the reward arrives, not after. Let that land. This is why scrolling a shopping app feels better than owning what you bought. Why a flash sale countdown makes your pulse quicken for something you didn't need 10 minutes ago. Why adding items to a cart feels satisfying even when you never check out. Your brain is already releasing dopamine the moment it expects a reward is coming. The actual purchase is almost an afterthought. And here's where it gets darker. Amazon, TikTok, Instagram. Every fast fashion app on your phone. They weren't built by accident. They were built by teams of behavioral scientists whose entire job was to trigger your dopamine spike and compress the time between that spike and your payment. The infinite scroll, dopamine trigger. The countdown timer, dopamine trigger plus loss aversion. A combination so powerful it's been compared to a slot machine. The push notification saying items in your cart are almost gone, dopamine trigger. One-click checkout, dopamine trigger with the brakes cut. Picture this, 9:47 p.m. You've been working since 8 a.m. You're on the couch, tired, not thinking clearly. A notification pops up. 30% off, tonight only. You open the app without fully deciding to. The dopamine is already moving. The deal feels urgent. You check out. $73. 2 minutes. Done. Morning comes. You see the confirmation email. That quiet, familiar regret, not because you're weak, because at 9:47 p.m., your brain's reward system was fully loaded and pointed at that notification, while the part of your brain responsible for stopping it had almost nothing left to run on. Which brings me to the third system. This one explains every bad financial decision you've ever made after a long, hard day. The empty tank problem. Think about your phone battery. You start the day at 100%, sharp, focused, good decisions. But as the day goes on, meetings, emails, traffic, kids, deadlines, stress, the battery drains. By 9 p.m., you're at 12%. And at 12%, your phone goes into survival mode. Your brain does the exact same thing. Except what it's draining isn't electricity, it's self-control. Every decision you make throughout the day, breakfast, a difficult email, a tense conversation at work, every single one draws from the same finite fuel supply in your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, reasoning, and impulse control. That fuel doesn't replenish during the day. Only sleep restores it. So by the time you get home, after hundreds of decisions large and small, the tank is running on fumes. And the part of your brain that's still fully operational at 9 p.m., the emotional, impulsive, reward-seeking part, the part that says, I deserve this, the part that says, just this once, the part that opens Uber Eats before you've consciously decided you're hungry. That part doesn't get tired, doesn't deplete. It's sitting there, fully charged, waiting for the moment your self-control runs out. Researchers found that financial decisions made in the evening are significantly more likely to be impulsive and regretted than decisions made in the morning. Same person, same values, different battery level. This is not a moral failure. This is biology. Now you understand all three systems: the spending default, the dopamine machine, the empty tank problem. Most people spend their entire lives blaming themselves for behaviors that have a biological explanation. You now know what you're actually dealing with, but knowing the problem without the solution is just expensive education. There's one more layer, and this one will completely change the way you think about saving money forever. Because it turns out the reason saving feels so hard isn't just about your past. It's about how your brain sees your future. Normal Tuesday morning. You're at your desk, getting your coffee. A coworker you barely know, someone you've said good morning to maybe 4 times, walks up and says, "Hey, can I have $300 from your paycheck this month? I'll give it back." In about 35 years, you'd say no, without thinking. Because why would you hand $300 to someone you barely know based on a promise that stretches 35 years into the future? Here's where it stops you cold. Neuroscientists at NYU and UCLA ran brain scan studies where they showed people images of their current self and their future self. What they found should be taught in every school, every financial literacy class, every conversation about why people can't save. When people looked at their future self, 10, 20, 30 years from now, the part of their brain that activated was almost identical to the part that activates when they look at a complete stranger. Read that again. Your brain doesn't recognize your future self as you. It processes that person the way it processes someone it has never met. Which means every time you try to put money into savings, a retirement fund, any future goal, your brain isn't experiencing that as an investment in yourself. It's experiencing it as a donation to a stranger. And you don't donate $300 to strangers. This is the stranger problem. The hidden reason why even the most financially motivated people who genuinely want to save, who know all the right things to do, still finish the month with almost nothing set aside. It's not a lack of desire. It's a lack of biological connection to the person that money is supposed to help. I know I should be saving for retirement, but it just feels so far away. That's not procrastination. That's the stranger problem. The future self feels distant because to your brain, it literally is a different person. But researchers didn't just find the problem. They found the fix. In one study, participants were shown realistic age-progressed photos of themselves, their actual face at 65, the wrinkles, the gray hair, the real person staring back at them. And something remarkable happened. The moment that future self became vivid, became real, became someone they could actually recognize, the amount they wanted to save for retirement jumped significantly, immediately. No other instruction, no other incentive. The brain doesn't need to be forced to protect people it recognizes. It does it naturally. The only missing ingredient was making the future self feel familiar instead of foreign. So saving isn't just a math problem. It's an identity problem. the moment your future self becomes real. Specific, named, vivid, worth protecting, saving stops feeling like sacrifice and starts feeling like loyalty. Loyalty to the version of you that's coming whether you prepare for them or not. That future self is going to arrive. The only question is what they'll find when they get there. You now have the full diagnosis: the spending default, the dopamine machine, the empty tank problem, the stranger problem. 4 biological systems that have been quietly running your financial life without your permission. Now we fix it. 4 systems, 4 overrides. Let's go. Override 1. Automate before your brain wakes up. The spending default is simple. The moment money is available, your brain treats it like food on the savanna. Consume it now before it disappears. You cannot out-discipline a 200,000-year-old survival instinct. So stop trying. Instead, remove the money before the instinct even wakes up. The morning your paycheck hits, an automatic transfer is already scheduled. Before you open your banking app, before you check your balance, before your brain registers that money as available, a percentage of it is already gone, moved into a separate savings account. No debit card attached, out of sight, out of reach, out of the spending default's hands entirely. You never see it, so you never miss it. Your lifestyle adjusts to whatever remains, the same way it always has. Except now you're building something on the side without feeling the effort. Here's the number that makes this real. Employees who automated their savings saw their rate climb from 3.5% to 13 to 6%. Not because they became more disciplined, because they removed the decision from their daily life entirely. The spending default needs available money to work. Automate first, give it nothing to consume. Override 2. Rebuild the brakes. Your brain has a natural braking system for spending. Scientists call it the pain of paying. It's a real signal. In the same region that processes physical discomfort, that fires when you physically hand over money you can see and count. That pain slows you down, gives your rational brain a chance to ask, do I actually need this? One-click checkout removed it. Contactless payment weakened it. Saved card details eliminated it entirely. The brakes were cut on purpose, by people who profit every time you spend without thinking. So rebuild them, one layer of friction at a time. Delete your saved card details from every shopping app, not because you can never buy anything, but because entering your card number manually takes 30 seconds. And in those 30 seconds, the dopamine spike fades. The rational brain catches up. Half the time, you decide you didn't want it that badly. Add the 24-hour rule for every non-essential purchase. You want it. You write it down, you wait. Research shows the majority of impulse purchase desires fade within a day when they're not acted on immediately. The urgency was never real. It was manufactured by a countdown timer and a push notification. One study found people pay up to twice as much for the same item when using a card versus cash. Twice as much. The only difference was friction. Rebuild the brakes. Rebuild the power to pause. Override 3. Protect the tank. This isn't about having more willpower. It's about spending your willpower on the right things at the right time. Because the tank is always going to drain. That's biology. You can't stop it. But you can stop scheduling your most important financial decisions for the moment the tank hits empty. The rule is simple. No financial decisions after 9 p.m. No online shopping. No I'll just quickly check this deal. No impulsive food delivery you justify as a treat. That window, 9 p.m. to midnight, is the most financially dangerous period of the average American's day. Emotional brain fully operational, rational brain running on fumes. Every dollar spent in that window costs more than its price tag. Move your financial decisions to the morning. Pay bills Saturday morning when the tank is full. Review your budget Sunday before the week begins. Make the big money choices when your prefrontal cortex has fuel to run them properly. One person set a single rule: no purchases after 9 p.m. and tracked 1 month. 80% of what they would have bought at night were things they didn't want in the morning. The items didn't change. The deals didn't change. The tank level changed, and that changed everything. Override 4. Make your future self real. Your brain won't protect a stranger, but it will fiercely protect someone it knows, someone it recognizes, someone it cares about. So stop letting your future self be a stranger. Open your savings account right now and rename it. Not savings. Account ending in 4721. Give it a name that makes the future feel real and worth protecting. Debt-free by December 2026. Emergency fund, never broke again. House deposit, our fresh start. Whatever your goal, name it. Make it specific. Make it yours. When the future self feels vivid and familiar, when it has a name, a story, a face, the brain stops treating saving as a loss and starts treating it as loyalty. Loyalty to the version of you that's already on the way. Here's the number I want you to carry out of this video. Someone who saves just $200 a month, automatically, before they see it, before the spending default gets near it, for 10 years, at an average market return of 8%, will have built over $36. Not from white-knuckle discipline, not from a perfect budget, from one decision made once automated and left completely alone. The spending default never even got the chance to fire. 4 problems, 4 overrides, and every single one works not by making you stronger, but by making the right choice easier than the wrong one. You don't beat biology with motivation. You beat biology with design. That person staring at $340 on a Tuesday night was never the problem. The spending default running since before money existed. The dopamine machine firing before you even consciously decide to buy. The empty tank problem draining your self-control exactly when the temptations hit hardest. The stranger problem making your future self feel like someone not worth saving for. That person wasn't weak, wasn't irresponsible, wasn't bad with money. They were running factory settings on a brain that was never built for credit cards, one-click checkout, or a world engineered by billion-dollar companies to make spending feel like breathing. That's not a character failure. That's a design mismatch. And design mismatches can be fixed. So you're not someone who can't save. You're someone who was never shown what you were actually fighting. Now you know. So here's your new identity. Say this and mean it. You are not a spender trying to save. You are someone who understands their brain well enough to override it. That shift right there is where everything changes. Not the budget, not the app, not the spreadsheet. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone with a spending problem and start seeing yourself as someone with a factory settings problem, who now has the tools to fix it. Your brain was designed for spending, but you were designed to adapt, and that adaptation starts today. If this video gave you something you've never had before, a real explanation for why saving has always felt so hard, you already know this channel is different. This is Floxy Wealth Coach. Every week we go deeper than the surface, cut through the generic advice, and give you the real money education nobody sat down and gave you growing up. If that's what you want more of, subscribe right now. Because next week I'm showing you exactly why most people who want to get out of debt never actually do, and the one mindset shift that changes everything. You don't want to miss it. I'm Floxy. See you there.